but you cannot hide. You daydream, I'm a homicide. You cut my heart, baby, like a samurai. I have sex to block the rage. You have sex to feel the pain. We're not the same, we're opposites. The pit inside your soul is fucking bottomless. And kill me slow, I wanna feel it. Blade so sharp and cut still with it. Blood runs red, it's romantic. Left a score, no one wrong dead. You murder me, I don't know. You're on the run, baby, but you cannot hide. You daydream, I'm a homicide. You cut my heart, baby, like a samurai. You murder me, I don't know. You're on the run, baby, but you cannot hide. You daydream, I'm a homicide. You cut my heart, baby, like a samurai. You want it, you got it. You hurt me, you dying. Look what you started. Love to be violent. Heart on the table, it's turning black. Left me for dead, you know I'm turning back. Kill me slow, I wanna feel it. Blade so sharp and cut still with it. Blood runs red, it's romantic. Left a score, no one wrong dead. You murder me, I don't know. You're on the run, baby, but you cannot hide. You daydream, I'm a homicide. You cut my heart, baby, like a samurai. You murder me, I don't know. You're on the run, baby, but you cannot hide. You daydream, I'm a homicide. You cut my heart, baby, like a samurai. Like a samurai. Like a samurai. Of dry hands. now, never turning back. These days just go by way too fast. I hope this moment never ends. I live for summer days. Let's take a trip out to the lake. Find us a spot to get away. Got Topo Chico feeling great. Now can we take a break? I've been grinding on a paper chase. Got a 9 to 5 and I can't complain, but I just might take your girl. You know I'm just playing. Just wanna be friends. Sip a little something with our toes in the sand. Summer sun, think I'm in love. Topo Chico in my body, turn up, turn up. How we live like it's a movie. All with me for the exclusive. Rubbing sunscreen on some cuties. First and darkest, that's the two-piece. Yeah, that's the two-piece. Topo Chico in my body, turn up, turn up. Topo Chico in my body. Come a little closer, it's a paradise for you. Wanna make you mine, girl, so that's what I'm gonna do. Happiness bottles and more bangers on the couch. It don't matter where we go as long as I'm with you. Ooh, baby, I wanna see you on the pontoon, baby. Might get a little wet, little 1-2 step if you're feeling okay with me. Can you come lay with me? Come stay with me. Kick it all day with me, yeah. Summer sun, think I'm in love. Topo Chico in my body, turn up, turn up. How we live like it's a movie. All with me for the exclusive. Rubbing sunscreen on some cuties. First and darkest, that's the two-piece. Yeah, that's the two-piece. Topo Chico in my body, turn up, turn up, turn up.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's stream. I am your host, Brian Mansell. Apologies for this. I am adjusting the camera at the moment. And I'm Brian Mansell, and this is the Brian Mansell Show. I'm a sports media professional who's been working in the industry for a couple of years now. I got a podcast, or a vodcast, as you will. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about a bunch of different sports topics. We are also, a quick reminder for those who are watching us on Twitch, we are 2 followers away from hitting 15 followers here on this channel. Hoping to hit that goal sometime today or by the end of the week. So if you guys are watching for the first time, please feel free to give us a follow. It goes a long way in helping us grow this channel down the line. Thank you so much. Now, in today's topics, we have a lot to talk about. I really mean that, a lot to talk about. I didn't think there was at first because I was hunting for news all night into this morning. But I did find a couple more things that aren't listed here on the side that I'm going to talk about. In fact, I'm going to add them here too. It's a couple of football things, so we'll go through that. So let me add them so you guys can see what they look like. So first off, you already see one, which is that the Phillies have extended their NLCS lead to 2-0. They completely smothered the Dbacks last night. The Dbacks had no answers for anything they did. It was a pretty much utter domination. If I thought the Dbacks had a chance before, they don't have one now. The next topic would be ALCS Game 3 preview. We're going to go over the Rangers and Astros in full, talking about everything going on for that series entering today. And Scherzer's first start in the postseason for the Rangers. Can the Rangers get the victory with him or without him, whatever it is? If he's not 100%, can they still get the win, essentially? We're going to do a quick recap of NHL action from from yesterday's games. On top of that, there were a couple upsets. We'll go through those as well and look into today's slate of games to see who's going to pull out the big victory there. And so forth. Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, got his contract extension today officially, a 3-year deal that puts him in through 2027, but supposedly it could be his final deal. And I'll go into detail on why there's a belief that this could be his final year under contract. Jalen Ramsey has been put into the 21-day window to return to practice. So he's not coming back this week. He's not coming back next week. It's just the same thing as usual. Jalen Ramsey has been opened up the window. He's got 3 weeks to get back to practice. Once he hits practice, he's going to be good to go. My guess, give it until like week 9. I'm thinking week 9 will probably be around the time he's good to go and ready to come back and start playing again. And when he comes back, I think the Dolphins' defense is going to be way better. We're also going to talk about the Derrick Henry trade rumors. Apparently, a rumor spreading around that Derrick Henry is being shopped by the Titans because they know what their future looks like right now, and they think it's best as a unit to just leave it be. And I credit them. I give them the credit. The Titans supposedly are ready to move on from Derrick Henry, put him in the best situation to win right now in this state. And maybe the best way to win at this moment is to put him with the contender. So what contenders right now could really use a running back like Derrick Henry? Again, he's turning 30 soon. It's going to be very important to talk about. And finally, I will do a quick touch on this. I mean, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but I'm going to, I guess, touch on it now. James Harden is a no-show at Sixers practice. So once again, James Harden trying to force his way out. We'll go into conversation on why the entire saga of James Harden pulling off stunts like this and why he does it and the reasons behind it. But before we get started, quick shout out to Armand in the chat. Hey, Brian, there's an A-bomb per Jim Irsay. Anthony Richardson's going to have season-ending surgery on his shoulder. Yes, I did hear that. Richardson is done for the year. It's going to be the Gardner Minshew show. He didn't look very good. He hasn't looked great, especially in that Jaguar game, but I'm not writing him off. I think there's still a good unit that can be competitive. A playoff team, no. But steal a couple wins from teams that need them, yes. That's how I feel about them. As you can also see on the ticker on the bottom, we have all the updates for today's game, so you guys don't miss a single thing on what games are going on today in the 4 major sports leagues. So for MLB and the ALCS, as you guys already know, there is the Houston and Texas game. Give me 1 second. Thank you. Sorry about that, everybody. ALCS, Houston and Texas. Texas leads Series 2-0. That's 8:03 Eastern on FS1. In the NHL, there's 2 games today. Washington and Ottawa, 7 o'clock Eastern on Monument Network if you live in the Washington area. And then later today, you also have Pittsburgh and Detroit, 7:30. You can watch that one on either TNT or on the HBO Max app. They now do hockey and basketball games on there. I've never seen that before, but they do it now. So if you guys want to watch those games, that's where you can find them. Unfortunately, with Washington, Ottawa, if you don't have the Monumental channel, Sports Network, it's fine. With Monument Sports Network, really don't need to use them. If you really want to watch, if you have an ESPN Plus account, you can watch it or NHL Power Play, one or the other. Works just fine. You can watch the games there. Now, Armand also brings up the Titans should have done this in the offseason. Agreed. That was one of my big arguments in the offseason was that the Titans should have made the trade for Henry. But let's get into today's topic. So if you guys are excited for today's show, you have anything to ask, any questions or anything, feel free to add them in the chat. I'll answer them as we go through the topics. As always, I always like to make sure we cover all our bases and that I give you guys all the answers you need, whether it's betting, whether it's fantasy, whatever it is, I am here to answer those questions. Or if it's just about your teams, I'll answer those questions as well. So again, thank you guys so much for choosing to tune in to the Brian Mansell Show today. It goes a long way in helping us. And I really appreciate all the love and everything for you guys choosing us today for your sports show. So let's start off with the Phillies extending their NLCS lead to 2-0. I'm going now into YouTube to try and grab the clip. I always do this every time. YouTube gets mad at me when I do this, but I don't care. I think it's cool when we do it this way. So Arizona and Philadelphia. I really had more hope for Arizona in this series. I really did. As you guys see, this is our highlight screen. This is where we could pull up all of our clips for every stream. And for this one, here's our clip. So in the top of the first here, on the mound for the Phillies is Aaron Nola, who hasn't been looking sharp this year, but in this postseason, he's been pretty good. But he's going up against Corbin Carroll to start, and he hits a little grounder to Turner, and he just couldn't round that one up. So it's easily a single to lead off here for Aaron Nola. So no chance of a no-hitter there. But let's move this along. You can see it hit him right in the chest. He wasn't prepared for it. Took an awkward bounce. And so now Nola has to figure this out. Marte strikes out swinging. So he gets the first out right there on his knuckle curve. One of the most deadly pitches, I think, in baseball right there. That knuckle curve, that action is the one that will tie every batter up if you're not prepared for it. And Tommy Pham goes down looking right after that. So it's 2 outs now here for the D-backs. They need to get here, and it doesn't help here that Christian Walker pops out to the first base side, and they get out of that one. So they go to the bottom of the first here. on the mound, Merrill Kelly, who's been having a lights-out postseason up to this point. He's been very dominant for the D-backs, probably their best pitcher up to this point. But can he change that and keep that going here with the Diamondbacks? Let's see. The first pitched out to Schwarber. That one's going to get the ground out to first. So Turner has to come up here, second man up in the lineup. He swings, loses his bat too as he swings. That's a interesting souvenir for a fan. So right there, the next pitch, Turner makes up for that, doing that, and he sends it deep out to left, and it's out of there. The Phillies are already on the board. It's looking like a repeat of Game 1 again. Make them pay, Trey. That's how the fans treat Trey Turner. They've been sticking by him all year for him to get better through his slumps, and he is paying off here in the postseason. Easily the best bat so far throughout the entire postseason. That trend continues here in the NLCS. Harper ends up getting walked here from Kelly, so now they got a man on first, and that's going to bring up Mr. Alec Boehm, who's going to send this one out to center and deep, giving chases Thomas. Thomas makes the play. He's thrown in. Harper has to go back to first. Alec Thomas, great play there for the D-backs. And then on an attempted steal, Moreno gets Harper on a steal attempt, and that ends the inning. But up next, Gabriel Moreno comes up to bat, sends it to third. Boehm with the great play, and he's able to make a really long throw to get Moreno out. That'll be a first to the second. Once again, a replay. Makes a great dive here. Boehm with the beautiful throw on his knees, completing it right there to the first baseman, Harper, just in time before Moreno's able to step on the bag. So that's the second out of that inning. And then Thomas comes to the plate, hits a little sharp grounder to second. Another quick out. Quick out inning for the D-backs, and the Phillies are moving. So in the next inning, Real Muto gets a nice hit to third. Longoria fields, and he gets it out to the first baseman to get the out. Telling you, Longoria's still got it, man. He's still got the mobility. He could easily play another season. 100% can. I hope he does. Castellanos up to the plate, and he sends this one out to right, and he doesn't even have to move. Carroll's got the play. Easy. And that ends the second. So Kelly gets out of this one. No runs given up this time. But we go into the top of the third. Again, we're talking about how this game got out of hand here. Nola up, gets him looking. Longoria strikes out looking. Beautiful pitch. He was expecting a breaking ball. He didn't get a breaking ball. He got a fastball. Now Carroll comes up to play. He hits this one right to Harper, and Harper gets a little flip out to Nola and gets out Carroll. What a great play from Harper to save that from being a base hit. And Nola right there to make up for it and get the out at first. And so they get out of this one. So now we're in the bottom of the third. Rojas at the plate. He takes it looking. So now Schwarber back to the top of the lineup here for the Phillies here. We're in the bottom third here with 2 outs, 1-0 count. Here's the pitch from Kelly, and Schwarber just got a hold of this. There was just no doubt about that one. I mean, I wouldn't say no doubt. It was the first row out, but yeah, you know what? It's still a homer regardless. And Schwarber gives them a even bigger lead now for the Phillies. This is where things start getting out of hand because the next time up, they had a man on first, and they had another scary moment right there. Harper almost got another one out. We go into the top of the fourth. Still no runs yet for the D-backs. Could this be the moment? We got a base hit from Ketel Marte, and that's going to put a man on first with no outs to go. So here's Tommy Pham up to bat now for Arizona. And he hits this little grounder to third. They go to try to flip a double play, and they're not able to do that. They're just able to get Marte out at second, so it saves them putting a guy in scoring position. That's 1 out. Here's Christian Walker to bat. And they get him looking right there in the top of the zone. He disagrees with the call, but it's clearly a good pitch. And he didn't like the call. Moreno is the next up to bat, and he gets it out to left. Marsh able to field it, and Moreno puts guys on first and second. Gurriel, one of the best hitters against Nola in his career, unable to do anything here. Instead, he hits right into a forced out at second, and that ends the inning. We go to the top of the fifth now. Arizona's still trying to get back in this. Longoria gets a nice little hit here deep, back to the warning track. The play is made by Castellanos at the wall for the out. And it's just, a little tiny hop, nothing too crazy, but Longoria unable to get it done. And Perdomo, another one, striking out right there looking. So Nola, absolutely perfect so far through all of this, outside of the 2 hits he's allowed. Bottom of the fifth, Castellanos at the plate. The next pitch, he swings and misses. A good strikeout from Merrill Kelly. Gets Marsh as well right afterwards. Again, look at this beautiful pitch. The way that sinking action works. He was not prepared for that. But then Rojas comes up to the plate. And he swings and misses too on a ball almost in the dirt. And that ends the fifth. So again, Kelly was straightened out. There wasn't much of an issue at that point. And then Marte in the top of the sixth had an opening to try and get this going again. And he's going to go for a double here. Easily into second, no problems. They got a man in scoring position. This is where they could capitalize. Beautiful swing from Ketel Marte. And then you got back to Tommy Pham, who swings again, sends it to third. Bohm with the long play, completes it out to Bryce for the second out of the sixth. So now it's back on Christian Walker to put the Diamondbacks back in this game. They want to get back in it. This is the man you want at the plate. Walker swings and misses on a breaking ball outside and low beneath the zone, and he gets the final out. They are unable to capitalize with the runner on second. So now Schwarber is back at the plate again. Kelly pitches, and oh my goodness, he hits a second one. That one's a no-doubter. That time it's a no-doubter. Out to deadway center, and that is a 3-0 ball game for the Phillies. Just, again, he's just getting a hold of these things, and he's sending them. He knew it was gone as well. Beautiful bat flip. 3-0 now. Man on first. Boom. Pops it up in the infield. And this one's going to be fielded, again, by Perdomo, the shortstop. So this is where they take Kelly out of the game, and they're going to make the quick pitching change. They go to Mansell. And this one's just going to go bounce in shallow into center, which is going to send a guy to third, being Trey Turner. So now we have runners on the corners for the Phillies. JT Realmuto at the plate. This was a big X factor I had going into this game. Here comes he was going to throw to second. Moreno could not do it. He was already gone. The second baseman wasn't ready. Now they have runners on second and third. Here's the pitch to Realmuto, who gets to send this into the gap in left center. And they're giving chase. Thomas is able to field it, but both runs score. And it's now a 5-0 Phillies game. At this point, the game is practically out of hand. This one gets hugged down the left field line and fair. And the bases were loaded. And they're able to... And Marsh is forcing a double there. That's going to score some more runs. Again, it goes from a 5-0 game to a 7-0 game. And the Dbacks already know their season might be over right here. It's a 6-0 game now, bottom of the seventh. Another one hit down into the right gap for a base hit. And Schwarber ran for third, and he got it. Longoria unable to makes the grab, but not a great throw from right field from Corbin Carroll. So here's Alec Bohm sending this one nice and into left. That is not going to be out of there for a homer, but it's going to be left center again. Thomas has to make the play. Schwarber scores. It's 7-0. They're throwing to the plate, and that's not going to get there in time. That's 2 runs that score. It's 8-0 Phillies. Philadelphia in full swing and domination here. They make a bad play on the ball here on a simple infield pop-up. A bad read from Longoria. Moreno couldn't get there in time, and that's going to cost them another hit. And this one gets by in the left field gap. The man on second's coming around. He's going to score. Easy score for Bohm. And now it's 9-0 Phillies. And then Castellanos decides he's going to go deep, but it doesn't get out this time. And a man from third is going to score. That's going to be Bryson Stott. And the Phillies up 10-0. Top of the ninth. We'll just look at the way this finishes real quick. Gurriel takes it off the plate. They're calling it a strike. That does it for them. The Phillies win this one 10-0 over the D-backs. No chance for them in this one. Just complete domination through and through. No jokes there. Complete domination through and through by the Phillies. Great game for them. No denying that. So we'll go through that real quick again. Quick box score of the Phillies matchup from yesterday. So with the Phillies now leading this series 2-0 going back to Arizona, we have to ask ourselves a couple questions. 1, can Arizona figure this out? Both of their top pitchers from the series prior have not pitched well here against Philly. Philly's bats have been too much for the Diamondbacks. They haven't been able to do anything. And their bats can't get going against Philly's pitching, who's playing very well. So, what has to change for them to be able to compete tomorrow and kick things off and get back in the series in Game 3? What would it take? Well, let's see what's going on from yesterday and understand why there were these issues. The Diamondbacks only registered 4 hits the entire game. And the players who registered those hits, 2 of them came from Ketel Marte, 1 from Christian Walker, 1 from Gabriel Moreno. Gurriel went 0 for 4, Thomas 0 for 3, Longoria 0 for 2, Perdomo 0 for 3, Pham was 0 for 4, Lawler was 0 and 1, and Carroll was 0 for 3. Kelly, just not a good outing for him, and the relievers after also struggled. Mansell did not do well for them. He only made it, he came in, maybe registered 1 out, and he got allowed 3 runs on 3 hits and 2 walks, no strikeouts, and 16 pitches. That's not good at all from him, from your reliever. You don't want that. So Nelson had to come in. He lasted just under an inning, and he, again, 3 earned runs, 4 hits, 1 walk. Saccone had to come in. He stayed a full inning and allowed only 1 hit. And then Safrank had to finish it off and getting like 1 more out. And it was 1 pitch. And that's how that pitching day went for the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Phillies, though, what a monster game they had. Special shout-outs to J.D. Realmuto, who had 2 for 4 yesterday with 3 RBIs and a run. He himself scored. Stott, 2 for 4 yesterday, 2 runs. Alec Boehm, 1 for 4, 1 run and 2 RBIs. Bryce Harper, 1 for 4 and a run. Trey Turner, 1 of 2 for 2 runs, and one of them was a homer, which was a solo shot. Kyle Schwarber himself was the hero of the game. 2 hits and 3 at-bats, 3 runs scored, 2 home runs, 2 RBIs. Even when Jake Cave came in to relieve him and pinch hit, he was 1 for 1 and registered a hit himself. So again, all around great hitting day. Kelly's going to have to work on his stuff to get better. I mean, if they can stay alive in this series, he's going to have a chance to redeem himself, maybe in Game 5. But Game 3, heads up now, the pitching matchup right now, the Diamondbacks are going to roll with Thad for that game, who's been actually pitching decent in this postseason, but so was Kelly, and we saw what happened with Kelly. So keep an eye on whatever happens with the Diamondbacks. Big thing to watch. The Phillies still have not decided who's going to pitch for them in Game 3. We're going to see. That may come down to the wire. So keep an eye on that as well. We don't know how that'll go. But let's go into a quick preview for the ALCS. The Astros and the Rangers are playing Game 3 tonight. The pitching matchup is Christian Javier for Houston against Max Scherzer for Texas. This is the postseason debut with Texas for Max Scherzer. This is the first time he's pitching. He's been injured. We've been waiting for him to get healthy enough to be able to compete tonight. And he's finally able to do so, and we're very happy about that. Again, great talent, great person. I've never been more excited for this. Let's eliminate the topics here to make some room. So we're going to make some room here so I could add in the final part at the end. Sorry about this, everybody. Done. The information has now been updated now that we got rid of a topic. ALCS Game 3. So, again, it's going to be Christian Javier and Max Scherzer working tonight. That'll be the pitching matchup. Javier for Houston, Scherzer for the Rangers of Texas in Arlington. This is the first game in Arlington of the series at Globe Life Field. This will be 8:03 Eastern on FS1. This has been a very good series for Texas offensively. Javier has been very good in this postseason specifically. There has been nothing bad I could say. He's been lights out throughout it. 5 innings pitched. He's allowed 1 hit, 5 walks, and 9 strikeouts. He has been the pitcher you go to in a tough scenario. So they're going to have to do it again. But can he slow down this red-hot Rangers offense? That would be the ultimate decider here. Now, in his career against the Rangers here, the Rangers batted .244 against him. Here are some guys to note. Adolis Garcia does not hit well against Javier. In 17 at-bats, he's got a .118 average. Mitch Garver's got 1 hit against him in 5 at-bats. Robbie Grossman has 3 hits in 8 at-bats. That's one guy. Grossman hits well against Javier. That's something to note. Jonah Heim has 1 hit in 9 at-bats, so not great for him. Josh Young has 2 hits in 3 at-bats. So small sample size, but he's gotten hits on him, so that's another name to watch. Nathaniel Lowe and Corey Seager each have faced him 20 times and gotten 5 hits. So that's a .250 average. Corey Seager's hit 2 homers off of him, and Lowe has hit 1. Each in 3 RBIs. Each one struck out 4 times against him, but Lowe's been walked 4 times. So Lowe and Seager are the names to watch tonight against Javier. And let's throw in Taveras as well. 5 hits and 16 at-bats, which includes a double, a homer, 2 RBIs, 1 walk, and he struck out 5 times against him in his career. So Taveras, Seager, and Lowe are the guys to watch. Adding Young, adding Grossman, and I would possibly watch Marcus Semien. 19 at-bats faced. He's got 4 hits, 1 double, 1 RBI, 5 walks, 6 strikeouts. These are the guys to watch. These are the ones you could definitely go yard on Javier. They can go light him up quickly, and that'll be it, and that'll end his day, and they're going to have to go back to the bullpen, which the Rangers have not fared well against, but it'd be better than, they'll figure it out. They will figure it out. But those are the guys you could really go yard on Javier and make his life hard today. So keep an eye on those guys. Texas is heavily favored to win this game at the moment. I am not 100% sold. I think Javier could pitch a great game and make a series 2-1. Again, the Astros are a better road team this year than a home team. They're 51-30 record on the road. The Rangers are 50-31 at home. It's very interesting. The Rangers are a better home team than away team, and the Astros are a better away team than home team. And the last series, the last 2 games they just did were in home. The Rangers were not a good road team, and the Astros are not a good home team. But I guess Astros being not a good home team is what affected it because the Rangers won both games. So now they're on the road. Can the Astros switch the pages and win the next 2 or 3 games? And just, take the lead in this series or even it up. What can they do? Because they got to get back to Houston somehow. They got to get back to Houston. And the only way they could do that is to win at least 2 games in this set. You got 3 games you're playing back to back. You got to win 2 of those 3 in order to force a game 6, which brings you back to Houston. If they can do that, they're good to go. Now, one thing I will say is for Scherzer being out for so long, it's hard to get a proper sample size on bats versus pitches. But I'll go with the guys who have faced him the most. So, Jose Altuve faced him 26 times in his career. He bats a 1.54, so he doesn't hit great against Scherzer in his career. 4 hits, struck out 6 times. Jose Abreu has faced him 25 times. Career-wise, Abreu hits well against Scherzer, 280 average. 25 at-bats, 7 hits, 1 double, 1 homer, 5 RBIs, struck out 6 times. Jordan Alvarez may have faced him 7 times, but he has been taking him yard almost every time. 4 hits, 1 homer, 2 RBIs, 3 walks, never struck out against him. Michael Brantley. Oddly enough, Brantley is the one who's faced him the most, and he has done the most damage against Scherzer. 54 at-bats, 20 hits off of him, which included 8 doubles, 1 triple, 3 homers, 11 RBIs, 4 walks, and only struck out twice. That's a 370 average, and that's actually kind of crazy to think about. Brantley is ridiculous against him. He's like the second coming of Babe Ruth when he faces him. So let's see if Brantley can continue that trend today. He could be the X factor for the Astros. Yainer Diaz faced him 3 times. His career only got 1 hit. Martin Maldonado, that's what I meant to go to. Maldonado, 12 times he's faced him. 3 hits, 1 homer, 1 RBI, 1 walk, struck out 6 times. That is the story of Martin Maldonado against Scherzer, which comes out to about a 250 average. Let's throw in Jeremy Pena too. 5 at-bats, he's got 3 hits, 1 of them being a double, and he struck out once against him. And Kyle Tucker doesn't hit it well against him. 6 at-bats, he's got 1 hit. John Singleton, 1 hit and 3 at-bats. Chas McCormick's never registered a hit. Neither has Mauricio Dubon. Bregman's registered 1 hit and 10 at-bats faced against him. This is just one of those situations where you just realize Scherzer might actually be in control of this one. The problem is there are a few guys who can do a lot of damage. Abreu's the one to watch. Alvarez, Brantley, Diaz, Maldonado, and Pena. Those are the main 6 to watch. Those guys could possibly get some good hits on him and do some damage and maybe make this hard for him in his comeback from injury. I mean, the last time he's pitched, by the way, the last time he pitched in a game for Texas was on September 12th. He hasn't pitched since September 12th, and he pitched against Houston once this year on September 6th, and they lost that one 12-3. He did not do well in that showing. In 3 innings pitched, 7 earned runs on 6 hits, 3 homers allowed, 2 walks, and only struck out 4. He didn't do very well in that game, as you guys can tell. Maybe it's a different story this time, but who's to know? If I was to make a guess for this game, I am probably taking Houston to turn this into a 2-1 series. But I'm not saying that Texas ain't winning this series. I'm still standing by that. I just think Houston is probably taking this one. Because the pitching matchup favors Javier. The history favors Javier. I'm just going to ride with Javier and the Astros and let them beat the Rangers tonight. If the Rangers win, the series is over. Even though it's just 3-0, the series will be over. I mean that. So that's the ALCS preview. That's where you guys should stand on that as a quick understanding of where we're at. Just grab a quick drink of water. Okay. Now, NHL recap from 10/17. That would be yesterday, by the way. So, from hockey yesterday, we're going to go back into the slate of 9 games from yesterday and just go through and talk about what was good, what was bad, who did well, who did not. Starting off with our first ones, the Vancouver Canucks and the Philadelphia Flyers. Flyers were able to win this one. They needed this big win here against Vancouver, who's been doing pretty hot lately. They were able to cool them off, and a win comes in for these Flyers. 2-0 is the score once again. Both goals were scored in the first period. Overall, throughout the game, Flyers were just nothing but berating the goal for most of the game. They ended up taking 42 shots compared to the Canucks' 25. Defense was very good from the Flyers to keep them from taking more shots. You didn't want to overwork your goalie who hasn't been 100% throughout this postseason. Throughout this season so far. But Hart did a good job in the time that he was on the ice. This would be Carter Hart. Carter Hart was good last night. And so far through this season, he's been good. 3 games played, he's got a 2.35 goals allowed average, and his save is a 9.21. He's faced a total of, at this point, he's faced 89 shots, and again, save percentage 9-1 because he just allowed, it looks to be no goals. I don't know if that's no goals, but wait, let's see. Shots allowed. Shot attempts was 89. It doesn't say how many goals he allowed, which I'm a little bothered by. But 9.21 average is where we're at. He's got 1 shutout already on the year. This would be today. Yesterday's game. Yesterday's game was his first shutout of the year. So good news for him. For the Canucks side, let's look at them and see how they did and look at their numbers themselves. Maybe the main guy yesterday who had some trouble in the net, that would be Demko. But Demko, it's hard to, go after a guy who was facing 42 shots and saved everything but 2 of them. It's very hard to blame him for anything. You really can't. You can only credit the defensemen who are really struggling. That would go out to Carson Soucy. And I would also throw some blame in on Noah Juleson. He definitely should have been better yesterday, and it was credited against them. Got a couple hits in there, but unfortunately that's not enough. If you guys know, if a goal's scored on you, it's immediately a negative, and they got put in the negative for a reason. And on the forward side, the other guys who registered in the negative, you can go to Elias Pettersson, not doing well yesterday. Peterson did not do great as well. He took 1 shot on goal, and it didn't go very well. And I would say the same possibly for Garland. Connor Garland also at a -1 did not play great, only took 1 shot. Really the only guys who played above where they should be and did well. I'm going to give credit to Sam Lafferty. Really took a few good shots yesterday, was all over the ice. And I'm going to give another one to JT Miller. JT Miller had a really decent game. And despite the fact he didn't score any goals, he did a great job. So that was the results for Philly and Vancouver. Let's go look at the next game here in the list for the NHL. The Wild and the Canadiens. I was talking about the Wild need to start getting their footing together. They were able to pull that off yesterday, getting a 5-2 victory over the Canadiens. Wild had 35 shots on goal. The Canadiens had 29 shots on goal. So good performances from them. The Wild took a lead early and they tried them out a comeback, but just didn't go anywhere. The Wild took a 3-0 lead by the second period early. And then you had a response midway through by the Canadians finally to make it 3-1, but Kaprizov was able to make it a 4-1 game right before the period ended. In the third period, Eriksson early able to score a 5th goal for the team, and Newhook scores one late to kind of make it a 5-2 match now. But it never changed from that score. So 5-2 the final score for the Wild. They needed this big win. If I'm correct, the Wild were actually winless up to this point, but I will confirm that. I believe they were winless up until that game. The answer is the Wild were... Nope, that was their second win of the year in 3 games. So that's good for them. Good start. They needed that win. For Montreal, that game was a little bit problematic in the sense that Montreal now falls to have a regulation loss. They didn't have that yet. They had a win and an overtime loss, which meant they hadn't lost an actual game yet. But this one counts in the books. This did not go to OT. This is 100% a regulation loss. Now, the big benefit they had is that Minnesota had 8 power plays. They capitalized on 3 of those goals in the power play, which tells you they're a good power play team. Montreal had 5 of them and didn't score once. So that tells you that what their struggles are and where Minnesota's benefits are. For the Canadians, you got to give your credits to a couple of guys who really played well. So far, I'm going to go give the credits to the couple of defensemen. Savard, Harris, and Kovacevic have had a very good work on the defensive side there. Matheson, not great from him yesterday on the defensive side. On the offensive side, I mean, we had a couple guys in the minuses, which is Gallagher and Suzuki. Goals from Newhook yesterday, and Pearson helped them a lot. And Caulfield being responsible for an assist on one of them is a big deal as well. So 3 guys come out with points. Newhook, Caulfield, and Pearson all come out with points. Now, in terms of penalty minutes, this is also important. I don't like seeing penalty minutes here. And in this case, I believe Anderson had playoff minutes yesterday, so he spent a lot of time in the box. I'm not a big fan. I don't like when that happens. Let me just make sure I got this right. Yeah, penalty infraction minutes. That's what it is, PIM. I got to make sure I got the stat number right. Penalty infraction minutes. Anderson had 16 yesterday. Pizzetta had 10. Everybody else was pretty decent and kind of clean, except for a couple goal scorers. The Caulfield and Pearson had 2 minutes, but it wasn't anything major. Slavkovsky had 4 minutes, and Pizzetta and Anderson had 10 or more. Anderson with 16. That's on the Canadian side. On the Wild side, Eriksson, not great. Eriksson had 16 minutes in the box as well, which again, not a good thing. But he was in the plus side, which is kind of interesting to see. He and Dehaime were another one, because Eriksson had 2 goals, which resulted in 2 points. Dehaime had 1 goal with 1 point. He had 7 penalty minutes himself, but he finished with a +1. -1s go to Hartman and Maroon on the forward side. They really didn't look too great, personally. Maroon especially. Again, he's hit that point where I think he's starting to lose his touch a bit, and it's kind of showing. Matt Zuccarello also in the negative, despite the fact he had 3 assists for 3 points. My guess is because he took 4 shots and didn't register a single goal. That's my guess. Other negative you can give here is to Kaprizov, who had a goal, 2 assists for 3 points. He's at a -1 as well for, it looks like, I'm going to guess it's probably because he took 6 shots and and only registered 1 goal. Now on the defenseman side, Addison and Middleton each had an assist yesterday, so they get themselves a point. Middleton and Mermis were both in the negative. Mermis had 17 penalty minutes. And Broden actually had a +2, which leads the team. +2. Only took 1 shot, but he was all over the ice, played a good job stopping some goals. Credit out to Marc-Andre Fleury for a decent game in behind the net for them. Again, at his age, you'd expect him to be a little slower, but he's actually played okay so far. This was his first game he played. 2 goals allowed, 931 save percentage from this one. So not terrible. Not bad for him. Gustafsson didn't have to come in and play in the net. So he did well enough that they didn't have to pull out Gustafsson. Lightning and Sabres were on ESPN last night. The Sabres were able to get the victory over the Lightning in overtime, 3-2. And a little bit of a shocker We were saying that the Sabres needed to get a win at some point, and they were finally able to collect that win yesterday. First win of the year in their third game played. Sabres had more shots on goal, so it was bound to happen eventually, but they did blow the lead at first. That's how it happened. They blew it. At the end of the first period, they were winning 2-0 thanks to goals from Jurgensen and Skinner. So they're up 2-0. But then the second period, towards the end, Hagel gets his first goal in with an assist from Cirelli and Jeannot and make it 2-1. In the third period, Hagel scored another one late in the game. And by scoring it late, and by late I mean like in the final few seconds of the match, he scored a goal, and Hagel was able to, capitalize and even it up. Once even it up, they went to overtime, and with only 1:46 in, the Sabres put it away with an assist from Greenway and Dahl and goal scored by Cousins, and they're able to pull out the victory, their first of the year. Couple stats to go over real quick. In the Lightning and Sabres game, in third period, the Lightning came in offensively hot. In the first and second, it was all Sabres. In the third, they knew they had it up at a notch, and they did, and they got the goals they needed. The Sabres had a total of 31 shots compared to the 25 of Lightning. As you guys all know, shots on goal really doesn't matter because it doesn't dictate how the game goes. Interestingly enough, both teams had a combined 7 power play attempts. Neither one scored a goal on those power plays. Penalty minutes were pretty low relatively for both teams. You had 13 for Buffalo and 11 for Tampa Bay. 20 hits from Tampa while there were 9 from Buffalo. And both teams had 11 blocks. Face-off percentage benefited Buffalo more than Tampa, but not by much. It was about by 2% probably. Something like that. In terms of goals, again, we talked about who scored the goals. The big positives, there were a good amount of them yesterday for the Sabres. Skinner, Jurgensen, Okposo, and Jost all finished with a +1. Jost had an assist. Okposo had only 1 shot, but he was really good in the face-off, so I believe he was in the positive for that reason. Jurgensen's was a goal, which resulted in a point and 2 shots, and he had 5 penalty minutes, but it's fine. He goes with a +1. Skinner, a goal, which results in a point, and he had himself 5 shot attempts. Usually that puts you at 0, but he had a +1. Peterka was in a negative yesterday. Again, 1 shot, didn't do too great himself. And for these Sabres, on the defensive side, the only good guy who was in the positive was Samuelson, who had an assist, which resulted in a point. So he in a good place himself. And in the net, you had Mr. Devin Levi goaltending for Buffalo, and they did a decent job. 20-22, 3-3 on power plays, didn't allow a single goal in. Saved 23 of 25 shots, which puts him at 920 save percentage for this one. Not a bad game for him. They didn't have to call in Comrie to replace him for any reasons. Penalty-wise, more penalties were done by Buffalo, but the Lightning were involved in that too. Bad games, you can give credit to Braden Point, who didn't have a great game for himself. Asamont did not have too great of a game. Asamont being Michael Asamont. Let's also throw in Watson, and Watson did not play well either. This is Austin Watson. He had a -1, and he had 5 penalty minutes and 2 hits. Give also some negatives to Mr. Connor Sheary, who didn't do too well himself. That is 2 penalty minutes and a shot on goal, but that didn't go anywhere. We're going to add into that mix as well Tanner Jeannot. Tanner Jeannot, who did have an assist in the game, took 4 hits, and that just doesn't bode well for them. Kucherov in the positive, despite being very limited yesterday, as well as Cirelli, who had an assist and 2 hits and a shot, and also had a very good face-off percentage. We're going to throw into the positive mix the top positive guy of the day for the Lightning. That would be Mr. Brandon Hagel. Brandon Hagel having a +2 himself with 2 goals, which resulted in 2 points, 3 hits on 4 shots. And I think that's it for the positives and negatives. And then on the other side, a negative for Sergachev with 1 hit and 2 shots. Chernak was in the even with 1 hit. Hedman was in a +1 with 3 shots. Perbix was in a even with 1 hit and 3 shots. Radish had -1 with 2 penalty minutes. I think that's the reason why. And Bogosian even with 1 hit and 2 shots. Johansson was in the net for the Lightning. Faced 31 shots, saved 28 of them. That's a .903 save. Again, when you go into overtime, it's always really tough. 4 power plays he faced. He didn't allow a single goal in any of those power plays. Just good performance from him overall. So, again, Lightning played very well, but unfortunately the Sabres got the better of them in overtime. Sabres get their first win of the season. This will bring us into the next game, the 4th game of the slate. Coyotes and Islanders yesterday. Coyotes were crap. I will say it now. I don't even have to really go into the box score much. They were crap. But the fact it was still close is mind-blowing. Islanders won the game 1-0 yesterday. They only took 14 shots. Arizona took 14 shots on goal, which is kind of sad. But Barzal is the only goal scorer. That was for the Islanders in the second period on a slap shot assisted by Dobson and Palmieri. It was just complete domination. 34 shots to 14. They only scored 1 goal, though, which just tells you, how good guys really are. And Sorokin technically gets a lot of credit here for the win for the Islanders, but you know what? I think just facing 14 shots isn't too impressive. I get it's NHL talent. These are really good hockey guys, but here's the thing. It's just 14 shots. If you allow 1 goal go, that's really not good, is it? Your save percentage immediately takes a hit. You just don't look that good or strong. So, personally, 14 is not impressive to me. It doesn't impress me. All 14 shots. What happens when you face 30 or more? How do you do that? But credit does go out to their defenseman, I believe. I believe the defenseman did a great job locking it down, good formations. I want to give also a lot of credit to Sebastian Aho for the Islanders. Played a great game yesterday as well. They all did a great job. No complaints here. The biggest thing is Romanov did have some penalty minutes, but everybody on the defensive side was taking their shots and playing smart, and it helped them a lot. And then here on the forward side, we all know Barzal had the goal, Palmieri with the assist, but full credits also should go out to the guys who were doing well in the faceoffs, which includes Anders Lee, who didn't miss a single one yesterday. He was on point. Pajot did a great job. Cizikas, or whatever you want to call him. Casey Cizikas, I think that's his name. And then also, let's give some credit to Mr. Horvat and Brock Nelson. All did a pretty good job yesterday doing their parts. So I got no complaints from them. They really played a solid defensive game. No problems there. The Islanders' only goal did come from a power play goal. It was power play. So Arizona let 1 goal go on a power play. I actually want to give their goalie a lot of credit. They did a very good job. With what they had to deal with and how hard it was for their offense to get things going, it meant that they were in the defensive end a lot, taking shots. So that tells me that Karel Vejmelka actually had a decent game. And unfortunately, the offense just couldn't equalize and force OT at least. But again, he faced 34 shots and saved 33. So that's a .971 save. He had a very good game. And the goal came in a power play when they were at a disadvantage. So I get it. On the defenseman side, I don't see any really negatives for anybody. If there was a negative, I'd probably throw it out on Madumba. He didn't look... He wasn't as sharp yesterday. He made a couple mental errors, which came back to bite them a bit. But nothing too crazy. They all played really good defensively. It was just the offense couldn't get in the net. And that's really what cost them in the end. That's just what it comes down to. They had a couple shots they could have taken. Keller, the leading shot guy with 3 shots on goal, but nothing was able to come out of that. And you can also put into that group Nick Schmaltz. Schmaltz should have had better shots and just didn't come out to benefit them. I'll give credit to a couple guys who won faceoff. So I'll give it to Logan Cooley as one. He actually had I think he won 2 of his 3 faceoffs he's done. Logan O'Brien, I believe that is. Liam O'Brien. Also, decent game from him as well. And we'll throw into the group as well Zucker. Jason Zucker, not bad from him yesterday as well. He it's just in the end, you got to get a goal in the net, and they just weren't getting, they couldn't stay off the defensive side. And defensively, they were great, but offensively, they couldn't flip the script and try and respond on Sorokin. And that ends up costing them. So, in the end, it's all the problem on the offensive side for the Coyotes. They get their loss. Islanders with the win there. The Coyotes, their second loss of the season, they're 1-2-0 now. And the Islanders are now 2-0-0. They still have not lost yet. Big story there. Islanders still have not lost the game yet. Oilers and Predators. This one wasn't close, and what needed to happen happened. The Oilers needed to win games, win their first. They won their first in dominating fashion. They beat Nashville 6-1. The Predators take a bad loss to the Oilers. 30 shots on goal from the Oilers too, compared to the Predators 43. Predators had more shots on goal, but still got beat by 5 goals. Kind of crazy. In the first period alone, the Edmonton Oilers scored 4 goals. Draisaitl had opened up the scoring with 1 goal himself. Then Hyman had a goal. Then Nugent-Hopkins have a goal. And then McDavid. So they had 4. It was 4-0 at that point. Second period, Novak scores something with an assist from O'Reilly to make it 4-1. But Edmonton just immediately afterwards, just 2 more goals. Draisaitl had another one. Draisaitl had his second goal of the game. Scores again. 5-1 Edmonton. And then Fagel had his own goal come in on a snapshot. 6-1 in the second late. And they were able to hold on to that score. Nobody scored again in the third. But let's go through a couple things with this, shall we? Let's go into a quick dive with this stuff before we go back to the NFL content. In this box score, when you go through it, Edmonton scored 2 of their goals on power plays. They were 2 of 3. And Nashville scored 1, their only goal on a power play as well. So, I'll say that whoever was in net for the Oilers yesterday was pretty much lights out. No problems yesterday. And that's going to give credit to a Mr. Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell having himself a hell of a game yesterday. 43 shots faced, only allowed 1 goal. It was a power play goal. He was 5 of 6 basically in the power play. 9.77 save percentage. Nothing but love and credit to Campbell. Great game himself yesterday. Positives pretty much all the way around. Ekholm at a +2, Broberg at a +2, Kulak and Nurse at a +1, along with Bouchard at a +2. Everybody really did their part. Bouchard actually had 2 assists yesterday, so that's actually great for him. And in the forward side, +3 for Zach Hyman, 3 assists and 1 goal. Draisaitl had +2 as well, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 total points on 5 shots, 2. I gotta remember this stat. I gotta remember this one. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to remember this stat. The PPG. We're just gonna skip that for now. I think it's power play goals. If it's power play goals, then Draisaitl has 2. Let's see. Yep, power play goals. He had both power play goals yesterday. It was Draisaitl. And in terms of hits yesterday, 1 hit, 5 shots. Face-off percentage was even really good too. Other guys that really good face-off percentages. Earn and Brown as well. I believe that's Adam Earn. Good performance there. Same goes for Connor Brown. Both of them nailed it in the face-offs. Same credit goes out to Mr. Derek Ryan. Good performance from him. Janmark as well. Fagel, we already talked about. He was very good. Another guy who really didn't have much to do, but did well in what he had to do, Ryan McLeod. Nugent-Hopkins, pretty solid. And then Connor McDavid yesterday as well. +1. Didn't do great in the face-offs, but overall goal-scoring-wise, he did his job. Nugent-Hopkins, though, +3, 54.55 face-off percentage, and 3 shots. And he got a +3, which tells you how good he was. Evander Kane, too. He wasn't phenomenal yesterday, but he also wasn't bad, I'm going to say. But, again, he has an assist on a goal. That's why he was in the positive. But Oilers win this one 6-1 over Nashville. First win of the year for Edmonton. And on the flip side of that, the Nashville Predators are now at the bottom, again, of the Central Division. Below the Coyotes. After 4 games. Wow. Wow. Now, I am going to throw in here another one. We do have also the Kings and the Jets. There's still 3 more games to go after the Kings and Jets. After that, I promise you we'll go to NFL content. We'll get that done quick. Kings and Jets. 5-1 Kings get the victory there. The Kings now moving to third place in the Pacific. Again, we're only 3 or 4 games in for everybody for the most part, and it doesn't really matter, but a good start for them. Big win over Winnipeg yesterday. Dubois, Moore, Kaliev, Moore, and Denault all scored to make it 5-0 by about the tail end of the third period until literally with about just over a minute left. The Winnipeg scored a goal with Sheffley. Sheffley was able to score something, and that's really what put it away. So, if you're going to go by the guys in the net yesterday who did well, I don't know what's going on with Hellebuck, but Hellebuck is not looking good. 29 shots faced, he allowed 24 goals. He allowed 5 goals. That's not good from him. He needs to be better. He's working very cold right now. I'm a little shocked that he's in this state. He should be better early, but he needs to get things together before they put Brossoit in. Brossoit. You don't want that. Brossoit is not somebody you want to take over for you. But for Winnipeg yesterday, in the negatives overall, the biggest negative goes to one man specifically, Brendan Dillon. Not a good performance yesterday. A -3. 4 hits, 1 shot. Not good at all. Marcy was better, but still in the negative. The only positive guy yesterday in this side was Sandberg, who had 19 penalty minutes, by the way. Dylan Sandberg, 19 penalty minutes and a shot, but he was in +1, which tells you how good he was defensively. The only other guy who wasn't in the negative was as well is Dylan DeMello. Dylan DeMello had a decent game himself. 2 hits on 2 shots, 1 assist. And we'll go into the forward side. Nemesnikov in the negative despite having an assist. Kapari in the negative. Lowry, Appleton, Ehlers, Barron. All these guys were in the negatives yesterday, despite the fact they each had at least a hit. Sheffley, like I said, had a goal which put him back into even, so he was at a 0. If he didn't score that goal, it probably would have been -1. Niederreiter was -1, Connor was -1, and Perfetti was -1. So just not a good performance overall from Winnipeg. They should have been better. And for the Kings, +3 from Moore, +3 from Denault, +3 from Kaliev. And you could also give only one, to my knowledge, there's only one minus on this side, which Alex Laferriere. I think Alex Laferriere was the only guy in the negative on the forward side yesterday. Yes, he was the only guy in the negative. 5 shots, 1 hit. In the positive end as well, you had Kopitar, Kemp. That's it. Everybody else was pretty much even. Grunstrom, Dubois, Lewis, Byfield, Lizotte, Fiala. All those guys were evens. In the defenseman side, everybody was a positive except for Englund. Englund was in the even spot, but +1s for Roy, Doughty, Spence, Anderson, and Gavrikov. And in the net yesterday, who did a really good job, actually. He should get a lot of credit for how he played. Cam Talbot, really decent game from him. Faced 27 shots, saved 26, only allowed 1 goal, .963 save percentage. Perfect in the power play, which he had to face 7 of those yesterday. He was lights out. So good work from him. Penalties were very limited as well. There was a total of 29 penalty minutes for Winnipeg, 17 for the Knights. So a lot actually for Winnipeg, but not much for the Knights. Knights were about average. I mean, not the Knights, the Kings. Kings were about average. Avalanche Kraken. That was on ESPN last night, in the late window. Avalanche beat the Kraken 4-1, so the Kraken's still hunting and searching for their win that they've been looking so desperately for. They're 0-3-1 to start the year. Still don't have a win yet. This game didn't help. Kraken had 38 shots on goal compared to the Avalanche's 28. But the Avalanche, once again, proven against the trend. 4-1 victory. Make your shots count, and they work in your favor. Now, the Kraken did open up the scoring. They were 1-0 after... But in the final 5 minutes of the first, they had scored the first goal off a wrist shot from Yamamoto with an assist from Dunn. However, in the second period, that's when the Avalanche said, okay, time to stop playing around. Let's just turn it up a bit. And that's exactly what happened. Laakkonen scored the first one to tie it early. And then O'Connor scores the second one to make it a 2-1 game in the second with assists from Cale Makar and Taze. They go into third. It's 2-1. And Rantanen and Nikushkin come in and they push it away. And that was it, 4-1. There was no competition from Seattle once the third period hit. On the Kraken side, everybody was pretty much in the negative. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Almost everybody was in the negative on the forward side. Eberle, Beniers, Schwartz were all negative twos. Tolvanen, another one, -2. And Burakovsky the same way. Now, Motor wasn't even. Carty was +1. Bellemare was +1. Wenberg was even. And that's it. Those are the only guys who were like either even or positive. The other guys who were negative were Bjorkstrand and Gourde were -1s. And it's kind of crazy because some of these guys that are evens or not all really had a pretty good face-off percentage for the most part, except for Beniers, Schwartz, and McCann. They were all had good face-off percentages, but still in the minus. In the defenseman side, the only guys who registered evens were Oleksiak, Larson, and Schultz. Borgen, Dumoulin, and Dunn were in the negatives, despite the fact that Dunn had an assist, which resulted in a point. If that happens, that means you really were not good defensively. Grubauer was in the net for the Kraken. He also did not have a phenomenal game. 27 shots faced, saved 24, allowed 3. That's an 8.89 save percentage. You do not want that for your goalie. You go to the Avalanche now, and pretty much everybody's in the positive. There is a negative. I'm not going to find it. Georgiev in the net for Avalanche. He has been lights out so far to start out the season. 38 shots faced, 37 saved, 1 allowed, 9.74 save percentage, 6 for 6 on the power play. He was great. Defenseman side, good guys who really played well. Taves, McCarr at a +2, Manson at a +1, Johnson at a +1. Just good performances from them. Rantanen, Laakkonen, McKinnon, Nikushkin, Johansson, and Uncogliano were all in the positives as well, ranging from +2 to +1s. Nobody else was in the negative. If I didn't mention anybody else, that was because they weren't even. But again, great performances from the Avalanche. Once again, they're proving themselves to be a force this year. They have a mission statement in mind. They want to go back to the Cup. And the only way to do that is to play really good hockey. And they're doing that. Hurricanes and Sharks yesterday. The Sharks, I believe, are still looking for their first win of the year. And they did not get it yesterday. The Hurricanes win this one 6-3 over San Jose. San Jose started off the scoring, though. Zetterlund with the goals, assisted by Hertl, which made it 1-0. But again, only less than a minute later, Jarvis ties it up with Bunting and Tervainen with assists. In the second period, Carolina was up 2-1, and Slavin scores an unassisted goal to make it 2-1. Zadina scores to tie it at 2 with an assist from Zetterlund, and then Eklund comes in to take a 3-2 lead for San Jose with an assist from Thrun and Hertl again. Hertl with his second assist of the game. In the third period, though, that's when the Carolina Hurricanes decided to just completely go crazy. Nosen had one goal to open up to tie it, followed by a goal just about 2 minutes later from Jarvis, assisted by Neckis and Burns. And then Neckis again. He himself didn't assist this time. He got a goal around like the 5 minutes left. Make it 5-3 Carolina, assisted by Bunting and Skjei. And to close it out, the final goal came from Pesh Kotkaniemi was the one who assisted him on that with Nosen. So, for the Carolina Hurricanes, this was a very dominant performance after starting off a little sluggish. Again, San Jose, 16 shots on goal. Offensively, couldn't get it going. They just couldn't. The biggest person who took a hit here, shockingly, Anthony Duclair. Duclair did not play good hockey yesterday, and it showed. -3. Hoffman and Eklund also in the negative, as well as Hertl. And on the defensive side, Ferraro and Burroughs were not the guys you thought they were. Mackenzie Blackwood, bad game for him. 42 shots faced, 36 saves, 6 shots allowed. 3 of those goals came from the power play, which he had to deal with 11 times. So eventually comes a point where you're like, okay, do I just take my goalie out? But, it's tough. For Carolina, they had their fair shares of positive and negatives by winning. Their best defender yesterday was 100% Brady Skjei. He was very good. +2 on the defensive side. Pesh was also well. Pesce. Burns was good. No other complaints there. I mean, the only guys negative on their side was in the forward spot, which is Martinook and Stahl. And the Stahl I'm talking about is Jordan Stahl. In the positives, Jory, Noasin, Jarvis, Bunting, Kokiniemi, Teravainen, and Nekas, I believe that's how you say it. He himself, those are all the guys that are in the plus ones. And for behind the net yesterday, it was Ranta who was in for the most part of the game. Antti Ranta had actually a very, very strong performance in this game, I have to say. He was actually not bad to start. He faced 14 shots, saved 12 of them, allowed 2, which is not good. Both goals came in the power play, 3 of 5 there. And Anderson came in for a bit to face 2 more shots. He took the power play goal away, and he was only able to save 1 shot, which, not a good thing, but, I don't even think he was supposed to be starting. I'm not sure what was going on there. This is, by the way, for Anderson, I'm saying Frederick Anderson. Not a great moment for him. But again, the Hurricanes get the win nonetheless. Sharks still looking for their first win of the year. Carolina continuing their dominant run on the offensive side of the puck. Stars and Knights faced off last night. This is the final game to talk about here. Stars and Golden Knights. The Golden Knights win this one 3-2 in a shootout. They had a shootout and were able to win this one. We're going through the game center to get you a quick recap here. In the quick recap here, Carlson was the one who scored the tying goal with 2:59 remaining in the third. So the Knights were able to rally for their 4th straight win. They won the 3-2 in a shootout against Dallas in the T-Mobile Arena. Carlson made it 2-2 when he kicked in a Korczak's goal past Jake Ottner. But getting it past Ottner was really what did it. But again, great performances from Vegas. They did what they had to do. When they're down, they always responded. Korczak did score his first goal, and Carlson also had an assist for the Knights, but now they're 4-0-0 to start the season, have not lost a game yet. Aiden Hill making 24 saves. Not a great performance from him, honestly. Those couple of goals come back to bite you, but it's fine. Hill spoke nothing but positive of what happened with the Vegas Golden Knights yesterday, so that's the good thing. But Craig Smith and Pavelski did score for Dallas, and Ottner made 32 saves for the Stars. That's a good thing for him. But it's just not, it's hard. It's hard when you're the Stars because you're going up against one of the top teams in hockey right here. Right here, one of the top teams. It's the truth. It's one of the top teams. And you got to prove yourselves against defending champions. And that's hard to do sometimes. It's really hard. Pavelski did give the Stars a 2-1 lead at about 2:50 left of the third period. And he got a wrist shot from the left circle, which was resulting from a face-off win against Rube Hintz. So from there, it was just really good plays overall from Dallas. They were doing their best to keep it together, but the Knights just really did a lot. There were 57 hits in this game, 40 by the Knights. And again, the Knights were the team that's so dominant. They're just a very physical hockey team. It's hard to beat a physical hockey team that's so well put together and has good chemistry. So full credit to the Knights. They did a good job yesterday. This is a rematch of the Western Conference Finals from last year where the Stars were eliminated in 6 games to the Knights. And again, in the shootout, the finish was from Shea Theodore and Jonathan Marchessault scoring in the shootout for Vegas. And Duquesne is the one who scored for Dallas. So, this is also... But it's also important to note that the Golden Knights also won their first 4 games of the 2020-2021 season. But they still didn't go as far that year. They didn't go to the Cup that year. They weren't a great hockey team that year. And it came back to bite them. So the question is, can they maintain this trend now that they are a Stanley Cup winning team? Can they buck that? Can they buck the trend and just, keep going and keep winning and maintain this streak of being a good hockey team? Can they do it? They're still perfect, though, on the penalty kill. They haven't allowed a single penalty, a power play goal this year. They're still playing really well. 11 for 11. It was also Pavelski's 450th career goal, the one he did score for Dallas, which basically ties with Doug Gilmour for 4th among players selected in the 7th round or later in the NHL draft. The leader in that category still is Luke Robitaille with 668. So, a lot of ways to go, but a good performance from Pavelski, making himself, a big name, continuing in hockey. So, good for him. Very happy for him. That should do it for us for the NHL coverage. So, with that, let's move on. We are going to move on now to the next topic now that we are through with hockey. If you guys are still watching, I apologize. I probably put you guys to sleep with the hockey stuff because, I'm still trying to figure out hockey myself. I'm still trying to really catch myself up with the sport as much as I can. Goodell got his contract extension from the NFL. Now he can go into full NFL here. No breaks, all gas here. All right. Roger Goodell gets his contract extension. Officially, according to Adam Schefter, he gets his extension. He's going to be staying with the NFL as the commissioner on a 3-year extension. Now, this extension, there is a little bit of controversy with this extension, trying to figure out what specifically with the extension would happen. I think you guys get what I'm saying here. I'm trying to explain it the best I can. That's the way it's going. Now, that we did talk about the breaking news that Anthony Richardson is also getting his season-ending surgery. We're not going to go into detail on that. But a quick recap on what's going on with this with Roger Goodell. So with this 3-year extension that puts it through to March 2027, Goodell is at the age right now where most of these prior commissioners had retired from the game. Roger's 64. And being 64, your age catches up to you a little bit. So the question is, will Roger continue after this year? There are people who believe that this extension he's getting for the next 3 years will be his final one because by the time it's over, he'll be 67, 68 years old. And for references, compared to the other commissioners, Pete Rozelle stepped down from that job when he was 63, and Paul Tagliabue walked away when he was 65. So Goodell could walk away at 67. He could continue working at 67. We don't know yet. My guess is that he is more than likely going to step down, much to the happiness of the fans, which you guys can have as many opinions as you want, but he really pushed the game forward no matter how you look at it. The modernization of the game has actually been incredible. I do not like, though, as I always tell people, I always have an issue with, how do I put it? I always have an issue with the way the ruling goes, the umps, the refs, we all have these problems. But in the end, it comes down to one thing. He did a great job for the game in the last 15 years. I know we argue about penalties, we argue about the way the refs work, we argue about game outcomes, suspensions, different things. There's no denying that the sport has gotten so much better and entertaining now than it did 15 years ago. We miss the old days, but this still isn't bad days at all. Because we can't go back to the old days because we have to worry about player safety more. I've never seen a commissioner be more worried about player safety than right now, than with Goodell. So I have to say, full credit to him. Do I think he's going to leave? No. Do I think he's going to retire? Probably at 67, but there's no guarantee. Regardless, Roger has been a good thing for football. He has been. No matter how you look at it, no matter what debates you have about him, he was a good commissioner. And, you can see all the boos you want. Everybody gets booed. If you ever rewatch these things and you see who gets booed, you can look at the commissioners for all the sports leagues. Gary Bettman's been booed for the NHL. We've seen Rob Manfred get booed for the MLB. We've seen Adam Silver get booed for the NBA. And we've seen, Roger Goodell get booed at the drafts all the time. Every time he makes an appearance, he gets booed. So, honestly, in the end, I think it's just a love thing. I think we say a lot of these things about him and we don't like him. But you know what? In the end, we can't deny the impact he's had for football. He's had a very good impact on it. It's helped the game become such a great thing today. So I can't deny anything he's done. He's been great. Great for the game. Hopefully after this extension he enjoys retirement and enjoys, peaceful life with his family. Next piece of NFL news. Again, we're moving quickly here. Jalen Ramsey, soon to return to practice now. They opened up the 21-day practice window. He's going to practice some point in the next 3 weeks, and once he does that, he could be eligible to return at any point. I personally think they're going to wait till week 9. I think week 9 will be the point where he comes back. We're going into week 7 now. Week 9 will probably be about the right time for him to show up. I would think that's about it. Ramsey will be back by week 9. They're going to be easy with it. They don't want to rush him. They're going to see what he looks like when he's doing warm-ups and drills. That's what it'll take. So full credit to him again. That recovery is kind of crazy. He's supposed to take longer. He wasn't supposed to be back until week 14 or 15, towards the end of the year. And here he is at midseason already ready to go back and practice. This is actually kind of crazy to think about, you know? You go back, you look at these guys making these medical miracles. It's kind of crazy, honestly. So ask yourself that, you know? What did it? What caused this so much? I mean, his injury is kind of crazy. I mean, coming back from an injury like that is rough. It's rough to come back from an injury like that. If you are... Yeah, it's hard to come back from an injury like that he had. And, again, I hope the Dolphins do better with him. Secondary has definitely been a concern since he's been out, so I would be worried about that and just figuring out where these things go. Yeah, their pass defense has been really, really taking a hit, and they need some help. And getting Jalen Ramsey back would 100% help them. One of the best corners in the league when he's healthy. So we'll see. Hopefully Ramsey does really well and they get a good rhythm going and they don't have to worry and they can really prove why they're a dominant force in the AFC this year. Again, as long as they're healthy, they are easily one of the top dogs. No problem. But Ramsey being back is the key. So once Ramsey's back, the defense will go flowing. The Dolphins will be a better unit altogether. They'll start winning games. That's more games, I should say. They're going to lose less games and win more games. I mean, they're already, again, a top dog in the AFC, but when you play a high-powered octane offense, you need a good corners in there that can handle it. And this week is a real test for them, actually. If I'm correct, I think they're playing the Chiefs this week. And if they're playing the Chiefs, they are really in for a rude awakening. I mean, I'm going to look now and just confirm, but I think the Dolphins are playing the Chiefs. Nope, the Dolphins are playing the Eagles in Philly. Even worse. Philly just lost the game to the Jets. They're going to be pissed off in front of their home crowd. You are going to be the target. And you're going to get abused by Philly. So this would be a perfect one to have Jalen Ramsey. Because having Jalen Ramsey fixes these problems. And they don't have him right now. So once he comes back, they could beat teams like Philly with more help in the secondary. The more help would be, again, Jalen Ramsey. Lockdown. Great man coverage corner. Great zone coverage corner. That's what they need. And the attitude. You got to come back at Philly's attitude with attitude. That's the only way you can fight back. So, I mean, that's really it. You need a guy like that, and the Dolphins need him back soon. Do I think they can still give a fight and try to win this game without him? Sure, yeah. But I still don't, I'm not 100% bought in on the idea that the Dolphins are going to win. And I'm bought in on the idea, though, that Ramsey will be a huge help. And that it will secure it for them, that they will secure the division with him. I think it is the Dolphins' division at this point. It's still too early to tell because the Buffalo's still giving some good fight. But I think it is the Dolphins' division to lose at this point. It's the Dolphins' division. Yeah. So we'll see what happens when Ramsey comes back. Hopefully it helps them. It doesn't hurt them. But let's move on now to another NFL topic, the last one to talk about, the Derrick Henry trade rumors. Supposedly there's a rumor going around that Derrick Henry will be traded by the deadline. Now, I get why they're doing it, but I'm curious why they haven't done it yet. So I'll give you the report I have. The report I have is that the Titans are expected to explore trade options for Derrick Henry at the trade deadline because Henry turns 30 in January. And his time as a top running back in the league is going to be coming to a close soon because of age. Age takes a good factor in how long he could be the best in the league. It does. Remember, Adrian Peterson was a great running back. We always talk about it, right? I'm going to give you guys an example. Adrian Peterson, great running back. He is. Okay, you go through his stats and his numbers. Let's go to, who can we go to? Let's see. We're going to go to the ESPN stats and get those for you guys, all right? He hasn't retired yet, but he probably will at some point. When you go through the stats for Adrian Peterson, he hasn't played in a football game since 2021. But his last really productive year he had was 2018. I actually got to go to Pro Football Reference. I need to get the ages, and they're not giving me the ages, so I got to go look it up myself. Adrian Peterson. Sorry about this, guys. My apologies. Pulling it up now. He is now 38 years old. He easily should have been retired at this point. He's a Hall of Famer. It's done. Right? He's done. Phenomenal player he is. At 30 years old was the last time that he had a big year where he had a significant 1,000 plus yard rushing season. 2015. He was 30. He had a Pro Bowl appearance, an All-Pro vote, he was everywhere. He was 10. He was in the top 10 for Offensive Player of the Year, top 3 for Comeback Player of the Year, AP First Team, and a Pro Bowler. That was great. The following season, 2016, Minnesota kept him, right? 2016, played 3 games. Only played 3 games that year. And then the following season, 2017, he ended up playing for 2 teams, Arizona and New Orleans. Played 6 games for Arizona, 4 games for New Orleans that season. He only started in 1 for New Orleans, 6 for Arizona. Combined, he was just over 500 yards rushing. So 529 yards that year. 2018, he's with Washington. He has a big rebound year at 33 years old. Over 1,000 yards rushing. About time. First time he did it since 2015 after 3 years of waiting. 2019, he's with Washington. He falls short of it. He's just under 900 yards. 2020, he ends up with Detroit during the COVID year. 604 yards on the ground. He wasn't the starter for the majority of the games. I mean, he was the starter for the majority of the games. He started 10 games, played in all 16. 604 yards on the ground. And then in 2021, he played for Tennessee and Seattle. 4 games total. 3 of them he started. He finished with a total of 98 rushing yards in those games. And that was it for him. He was out of the league. So by 36 years old, he was out of gas, out of steam, and he was out of the league. But it's all started after his 30th season. After his age 30 season, he went downhill. He started trending in a negative direction. It's when he suffered the injury. It's when he had legal drama going on. For Adrian Peterson, that was it for him. Right there. And following season, he was gone. Just straight up, just like that. But it doesn't deny his history. He's a great player. There's no denying that. But he's a good example. Let's go with another guy. This one is going to be a little bit of a stretch because he himself is a good player. He's not even 30 years old yet. But he was a phenomenal football player. And it's unfortunate that I have to put him here. But I'm going to have to consider him because of his medical issues. Todd Gurley. After the 2020 season, he hasn't touched an NFL field. I don't believe he's retired. I don't know if he is still active technically. But he was diagnosed with arthritis early in his career in the NFL. And basically told me he's not going to last long in this league. He'll be gone very quickly. Well, he only played 6 seasons, but in those 6 seasons, he made them count. 3 Pro Bowls, 2-time All-Pro, Offensive Player of the Year in 2017, Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2015. He was just all over the place. He had really good numbers. And unfortunately, by the 2019 season, he was done. 15 games started. He only had 857 yards. And in the 2020 season, he went to Atlanta at 26 years old. Just under 700 yards on the ground. He just did not have a good year, and no team's come back to him since. He's been done. So unfortunately, Todd Gurley's time ended very quickly. Dalvin Cook is another new example of a guy who is still fairly young, but he's moving a little bit. He's 28 years old. He's already been moved. From his 2017 season to 2022, ages 22 to 27, he has been playing lights out. I will say the main years were a 4-year span. From 2019 to 2022, he was a great running back. He was playing over 1,000 yards every year on the ground, doing everything for the team. He was really that good. But this year, Minnesota didn't take him back. So he went to the Jets. In 6 games, which he hasn't started any of them, he's got 109 yards on the ground on 39 carries. That's not good. That's not good for him. I mean, most of his career, he's been averaging at least 4.4 yards per carry in every single season, at least. This season, he's averaging 2.8. So the regression has begun for him. And that's just not a good thing for a guy like that. It is the truth. You know, I can't say anything else against it. It is the truth. Dalvin is regressing now. Now he started it. Let's look at Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey, I know, is going to be an outlier in this case because he's been very good. 2-time Pro Bowler and already an All-Pro. But in his career, with Carolina and San Fran now, he's doing some incredible work right now at San Fran. And at his age right now, he's only 27. He's the same age as Cook, but he's got more longevity than Cook at the moment. The question is, how long will that last? It's always great in the beginning, but it dies out eventually. When will that die out? That's the same question we have with Derrick Henry. Henry being about to be 30 years old in this league is actually kind of crazy that he's still so relevant. I mean, you're talking 3-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro, Offensive Player of the Year back in the COVID year. And he's rushed for over 1,000 yards in nearly every season that he started. For example, his first 2 years, 2016, 2017, he wasn't the starter. If I'm correct, that was the year it was DeMarco Murray was the starting running back that year. Yeah, DeMarco Murray was starting running back in his rookie year, which was 2016. He was coming off the bench. 2017, it was still DeMarco Murray. And DeMarco Murray was actually having less yardage and production than Henry did that second season. He had only set... Marco Murray had 660 compared to 744 from Derek. So Derek ended up becoming the starter the following season. Once that happened, he took off. Over 1,000 yards once he became the starter in his third season in the league. 2019 season, he's going off. He's got over 1,500 yards on the ground rushing for Tennessee that year. They go to the conference championship. 2020, the COVID year, they lost the wild card to the Ravens. But that year, rushing-wise, the main problem was the man got hurt. The man was hurt. I don't know if people know that story. Derek Henry actually was not hurt that year. He ran for over 2,000 yards. He ran for over 2,000 yards that year. COVID year. That's why he was Offensive Player of the Year. 2021 season, didn't hit that number again. He ended up hitting 937 yards because he was injured for about half the season. Played in 8 games, started 8 games, 937 yards on the ground regardless. He almost hit 1,000 yards just in 9 games alone, 8 games alone. 2022, last season. In last season's performances, he was rushing 1,500 yards in 16 games. 28 years old, doing really well, really well. And now, so far to this point this season, he's at nearly 500 yards rushing on the ground, 425. But they have a young rookie that they have behind Derrick Henry, which tells me if he continues to play well, he could be the new replacement for Henry. This rookie coming from Tulane, Tyjae Spears. Spears has been playing really good football lately. He's been getting more attention as the weeks have gone on. I'll say that much. As the weeks have gone on, his yardage has been getting better. His attempts, he's getting more attempts. They've been using more in the receiving game. Things have been working out for them overall with him as a possible dual threat option. But for Derrick Henry, he's having a good season, don't get me wrong. 6 games, you're already just shy of 500 yards. It's great. But you're already starting to see the decline in what his peak was in his production compared to now. So before he completely, craps out, you really need to capitalize on it. And to capitalize on it, you got to make a trade. And you got to get as much as you can for him while you can before it goes too low. So to me, I feel here are some teams that could really use him. Let's look at the ground game so far, right? That would be what I would look at. So far in terms of team, let's look at the team leaders in terms of rushing yards right now. That's what I'm thinking right now. Team stats and standings. There we go. We're going to go team offense. In terms of rushing yards, right? That's what I'm looking at, rushing yards. The top rushing offense in the league is the Miami Dolphins with 1,091. Already over 1,000 yards. They're the only team that's over 1,000 yards on the ground so far this season. The worst team is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers have 2 losses so far in the year, and their ground game has been ineffective with Rachaad White. Things are not working out well for them. In terms of yards per attempt, the Raiders and Bucs are tied for the worst at 3 yards per carry. I will say that I think the Raiders could use him as well, but Josh Jacobs is their star guy. They paid him for a reason, so the Bucs are more likely the better option here. Just for that alone. But other teams are looking to compete this year. The Bucs are one of them. The Bengals are not doing well with Joe Mixon. Maybe Mixon gets involved in the trade somehow. They get Derrick Henry. The Bengals go crazy. Bucs and Bengals are the top 2. Those 2 guys are trying to be competitive, win their divisions, go back to the postseason. In order to do that, you need to, win with the run game. And Derrick Henry would be very helpful for the Bucs and be very helpful for the Bengals. Another team that could use him, I'm not going to say Seattle. Seattle's been decent on the ground, but they're 8th overall. They got the 8th lowest yards in rushing overall in the league right now. They're just not doing well. Despite the fact they're averaging 4.2 yards per carry, they got a total of, 521 yards overall as a unit. It's not good. Another competitive team that could really use a good running back right now, we could argue in there. I mean, the Titans are middle of the pack. They're middle of the pack. So they know what they have. They know what they can do. They're going to probably have to pull Henry out. He's been fairly quiet this year. Maybe a change of scenery could really help him. Another team that could use a running back that could push them over the edge. I mean, look, on the ground, the Ravens are still fourth. Not having J.K. Dobbins definitely hurts them. Browns could always use a running back, but they're good with what they have right now, I think. Cowboys are okay. The Chiefs are okay. I could totally see them going to Kansas City, but I really don't want to see that. I don't think any football fans want to see them go to Kansas City. But I could totally see it still happening. Bills, Jets, Colts. I think really it's down to a couple teams. I think the Lions are good. The Bears are not going to do anything. If you're looking for like an actual competitive team, I would say to watch out for the Bills could possibly make a move for him. I could see the Bucks making a move. I could see the Bengals making a move. And I could see the Rams possibly making a move, but they just added Darrell Henderson. They like the guy they have. So really it's those three. I think the Bucks are one. I think the Bengals are one. The Bills are one. And if we want to throw them in here just for fun, we'll throw in the Chiefs. Because it's always the Chiefs involved in everything. So Chiefs, Bills, Bucks, Bengals. Those are the 4 teams I would see looking into trade possibilities for him. So keep an eye on that. That trade could happen. That is a rumor that's been going around for a while with Derrick Henry. Keep an eye on that. And finally, the last topic of the show today. James Harden is a no-show at Sixers practice. He didn't show up. He did not show up. I don't know how anybody feels about that. But personally, I think that's very dumb that he decided not to show up. But it's expected. He doesn't want to be there, so he's going to protest it. And his way to protest is, I'm just not going to show up. You're going to have to forcibly remove me. And I'll give him his credit. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's very smart. He's a very smart guy. So if I were you guys, I would think about this a bit. Where could you put James Harden? Where he would be happy. He wants to be with the Clippers, that's for sure. He wants to be with the Clippers. That's for sure. But, I mean, you can't just push away where you want to go. It's just not possible. To me, I don't think it's possible. With James Harden, there's a very talented player who's just going downhill. I'm not going to say mentally. I'm going to say as a player, he's going down a bit. He's on a downward trend. And the only way that can help is if he goes into a unit where he can, cooperate properly and he's with people that he enjoys his time with. And if that were the case, I would say to go with the Clippers. Let's see how that looks. Can you pull that off realistically? And, I mean, outside of that, though, it's hard. You got to try to find a way to facilitate a trade for Harden that makes sense for everybody around. You can't just force your way where you want if nobody wants to trade for you and give you what's needed. But at the same time, I think of it from a very simple business perspective. You don't want to be here. I'm paying you to be here. So why would I pay you to be here if you don't want to be here? That's how I've always looked at it with football. I looked at it with football. I looked at it with basketball. I looked at it with baseball. If you don't want to be here, why am I paying you to be here? Okay, fine. If you don't think this can be resolved and there's no solutions, don't worry. We'll find you a good place to go. Okay? But don't think you're getting a choice on where you're going. You're going where we say you're going. Because you don't want to be here, right? You want the best chance to win? Fine. We'll put you with the team that's competing. You can go be with that. Fine. We'll figure it out. In this sense, he wants to be with his friends. So the Clippers is one team that comes up because he wants to be with Kawhi and Paul. I'm sure that's the case. But is there any other team out there that Harden gets along with that he can go back to? I mean, there was the speculation about him going back to Houston, but we already know that was a lie. So, I'll tell you guys real quick. Just give me 1 second. There we go. Sorry about that, everybody. I just had to sneeze. I didn't want to make it sound like a shotgun blast here through the mic. So, let's take a look here at some of the rosters right now around the NBA. We'll take a look around the NBA, get some rosters, and see what they look like. Um, grabbing him now, people. I'm grabbing it. Depth chart. Let's see. Boston doesn't need anybody. I think Boston's good. Let's look at the Hornets. Let's look at Atlanta. Atlanta's good. I don't think he wants to be there to compete with them. Bulls are in a really rough spot at the moment. I don't even know if you can even do anything with that unit. Cavaliers, he doesn't want to go to the Cavs. No chance. Mavericks, I mean, would he want to go back with Kyrie? Sure, I'm sure he would want to go back with Kyrie, but the trade you'd have to pull off to make that happen, I don't think Dallas wants that. Detroit, no. He doesn't want to be at Detroit because Detroit's going to be the same team it is every year. People don't like that. The Nuggets are good without him. I mean, what are you going to trade for that? You're going to have to trade Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon probably if you want to get Harden. And that doesn't help because Murray and Jokic together are still like one of the best duos in the league. So that makes no sense. Golden State already did something for Chris Paul. You're not getting that. Sorry. Nope. Not happening. You can remove that idea. Houston Rockets don't want him now. That's why they got Fred VanVleet. Indiana Pacers. He is definitely not going to play for the Pacers. I already know it. Take a look at the Lakers. He probably would consider the Lakers, but not really make the move there. I'm not sure. I mean, it was expected he wouldn't show up to practice today. But you know what? It's kind of sad to see that this is the way it's gone. He asked for a trade. They won't grant it to him. They're calling him spoiled and all these different things. You know what? In the end, now you really just burn the bridge. There's no chance of him coming back. I could totally see him going to Memphis, though. I'm going to be honest with all of you. I think he could go to Memphis. Memphis is 100% an option. Marcus Smart, Desmond Bain, JJJ, Steven Adams. This is not a bad squad. D Rose on the bench. I don't hate it. I really don't hate it at all. I'm just trying to figure out why John Morant's not listed. Let me see what's going on with John Morant. I don't know why he's not listed on any depth charts at the moment. He's not listed on anything. Let's see. What is going on with that? Oh, he's got a 25-game suspension. I forgot about that. He has a 25-game suspension to start the season. So, he will not be playing to start. So, Marcus Smart's got to be the starting guard. I mean, you can make a trade for Harden and pull that off if you want to, but, I mean, I don't know how that'll go. How that'll sit with teams. Milwaukee doesn't want him. Miami could use him. But how would you orchestrate this? Would you really trade Kyle Lowry or Hero out to the Sixers just to get back Harden to go with Butler? I don't know if I'm on agreement with that. I mean, that's definitely a team to consider, though. I think Miami and the Clippers are definitely two teams to watch. With the Timberwolves, no. Not the T-Wolves. The Pelicans, no. No, I wouldn't do that. What about the Knicks? The Knicks don't need him. The Knicks definitely do not need him. 100% do not need him. Oklahoma City, SGA, Giddey, Dortz, Williams, Holmgren. He doesn't want to play with a bunch of young kids that he doesn't get along with. That's the problem. He wants to be with the veteran friends, and that's not going to happen. You can definitely write Orlando Magic out of here, too. No chance. Let's throw out the Phoenix Suns here. Nope. Not going to happen. I mean, they already got a good unit as it is. They don't need him. Sorry. It's the truth. Kings? No, the Kings are not going to use him. He doesn't want to be with Sacramento. No chance. I'm sorry, but nobody's ever said I want to go to Sacramento. It's not a joke. It's not a knock at Sacramento. It's just the truth. It's how they are. Definitely not going to the Spurs. They can't afford it. Portland already got a good unit as it is. I don't think they want to bring in any veterans to really fix this. Their veteran is DeAndre Ayton and Malcolm Brogdon, so they're good. And Williams and, a bunch of other guys. They got some veterans in there. They're fine. Toronto Raptors. Raptors, I mean, if they want to compete, they could try, but, I mean, you're going to have to probably lose OG Anunoby, and you don't want to have to lose Anunoby. But their unit does not look great in their starting five. Schroeder, Anunoby, Barnes, Siakam, and Podol. I don't like this. And you got Precious Achiuwa on the bench. Utah Jazz. Let's take a look at that. Clarkson, THT, Markkanen, Collins, and Kessler. Not a bad group, but just not what he's looking for. He wants his friends. And Washington doesn't help either, because I don't think he likes Jordan Poole. Or Kuz. So to me, I'm thinking it's Miami or LA. And I'm talking the Clippers. It's either the Heat or the Clippers. He doesn't get the Heat or the Clippers, I think he's done. I don't think he's gonna get what he wants. That's your only options. So for him, he doesn't have much to say in this, but this goes back to what I've been saying. You cannot sit here as a team, right? You can't sit here and expect the best from everybody. I mean, I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong in this. You can't expect to get what you want. That's not how this works. You know, this is different. This is different. I go from the business of an owner, and I've heard this before from managers. And, you know, this is where I'm going to bring this up. When you sit down and have a conversation with somebody who's coached in the sport, you know things. You learn things. And one of the biggest things I've heard, and again, this is, you know, anonymous from threads online, okay, where people protect their anonymity. This is somebody who used to coach in the league a few years ago. He's not in the league anymore. He's not even an assistant coach. He's out, okay? This is exclusive information I'm giving you, okay? This is, again, NBA. There is an issue now with these players who have these entitlement where they feel that they can go anywhere they want at any point. If they feel like their team sucks, they can just go, oh, I want to go. Bye-bye. Trade me. Trade me. If you don't trade me, I'm not playing. I'm not playing until you trade me. Nope. You can't pay me more money. Doesn't going to help. Nope. I need to be traded right now. I want to win this year. Get me out if you put me in a winning situation. Done. Oh, you can't get me anywhere? Release me. Cut me. So this way anybody can pick me up. Let's go. Come on. And that's what they do. And apparently it's a trend that happens in every sport. Well, most sports. I don't see it really happen in baseball often. It's very rare that you see it. And same thing with hockey. Hockey's a very much of a loyalty sport. Not really anybody trying to force themselves out into other situations. But in football and basketball, it happens a lot. The NBA and the NFL happens a good amount. You see guys sit in there. They don't like the way their team is going. They don't like the direction of the team. And they just go, bye-bye. I want to go. Bye-bye. I don't want to stay. I'm finished. Nope. Leave it be. I am finished. Finished. Finito. Zero. Done. That's how they are. And this coach who spoke had a lot to say. And it's just not good for the players. It's not a good look. And you know, if this pisses off the NBPA, go right ahead. I ain't scared of you. Let me be real with you. Sports is becoming more egotistical every day. You're already seeing the ego show in basketball and you're seeing it in football. Now, not as prominent in football as basketball. Basketball, you see it the most. I'm so serious. I've been watching basketball for a decade. I'm telling you, it is definitely more egotistical than it was before. I've been studying the NBA for years. And it is the ego now compared to what it used to be are so different. It's changed. Most of what you used to see was heavy involved in, you know, just shit talking. That's really it. It used to be just like talking smack, going back and forth, saying some things. That's really what it was. But now it's different. It's more about you're comparing your bags. You're comparing your women. You're comparing your situation. You're comparing your accomplishments. You're comparing your actions on the floor. You're comparing your performance off the floor. You're doing everything. And the media is always going to put you in the spotlight. Now, again, the players like to turn it around and make it seem like it is the media. It's the media's fault. But in the end, the media only broadcasts what you project. And I mean this. This is, again, somebody who has seen this kind of stuff firsthand in different situations. The way you present yourself is how people are going to perceive you. Because they don't see your private life. They don't see what you do in private. And because they don't see what you do in private or know what you do in private, you're good to be the person you want to be. But in front of the public eye, which is the media and the cameras and people around you, you have to be different. You have to put it up as if you are a good person, that you are well-mannered, that you are knowledgeable, that you are smart, that you are, and that you really care. That is how it has to look when you're working in sports. When you're a sports athlete. That goes for every sport. You have to present yourself with a proper image. If there's no proper image from you as an athlete, it's going to come back and bite you. You won't last long. You're going to get a bad reputation. Let me give you an example. I'm going to use one athlete who pretty much just dismantled his career really quickly. And this is going to be very unpopular, and people are going to disagree with this, but I'm going to mention him anyway. Odell Beckham Jr. Great athlete. Phenomenal talent. Maybe one of the greatest catches you'll ever see. But a lot of people now say that, that catch carried his whole career. Great. Okay, fine. But you're taking away from the man himself. If you knew the man in private, you would know the man he really is. The problem is when he's faced with frustration and bad moments, he lets his thoughts get the better of him. And as he's gotten older, he's gotten better at it. When he was younger, it was very hard. And you watch it. When you watch it, how he was with the Giants compared to how he's now with the Ravens and where he was, he's a different guy. He's not the same person you thought he was. It's the truth. And the problem is the athletes mature later. And they realize these mistakes later. And they regret it. How many times when he was with the Giants did you see a story about Odell having an emotional meltdown? Hitting a net, getting hit in the face by something, throwing things, getting into fights. How many times did you guys see that? You definitely saw it more than a few times. That all comes with immaturity, and that creates a bad public image of you and bad thoughts of you. The Giants fan base turned on him because of it. And you can't have that. If you want the truth, you can't have that. You need better. And you need to be better. You need to be smart. If you're going to present yourself, remember, you are on a football field playing football. I get it. And it's going to get passionate. It's going to get intense and heated sometimes. Sure. But you need to be able to present a good image of yourself no matter where you are. If somebody's trying to pick a fight with you, back off. You want to talk a little smack? Go ahead. Talk some smack and nod your head back up. Go ahead. Yeah. But don't get involved in a fist fight altercation because that makes a bad look on you. And then that affects the club. And then that affects your sponsorship deals. It affects everything. You got to be smart with things. So where am I getting with this? That's what I should say. Where am I getting with all this long tangent? James Harden is hitting the bad part right now. He's doing the bad thing. He's presenting himself in a bad light. The man is making himself look like a drama queen. Somebody who is spoiled. Making himself look like somebody who wants everything in the world. He wants things given to him. He wants it now and wherever he wants it. So he wants everything readily available. Which means if he wants to win a championship, he wants it now. Because, he ain't getting any younger. He wants all these things. He's very demanding. If things don't feel right, gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. You won't trade me? Fine. Let me get my fat suit. Let me go gain some weight. Let me just not show up. Let me just act like a nuisance. When you act like a nuisance and act like that, in private, it's fine. I get it. That's a good strategy to have in private. But in a public eye where the media is around for everything, that's the dumbest thing you could do. Don't ever do it in front of the media. Let it be saved for some kind of podcast that they do, like the whatever it's called that Jeff Teague does. Save it for that. When you're retired or you're out of the season, save it for that, where people can really see what you do. And it's not put in the media light where it can be twisted. Because that also has to be mentioned. Too. The media likes to twist things. Sports media has a bad habit of it. And I'm going to name out the sources right now. The top thing that does it the most is ESPN. ESPN will easily twist a story like this and make it look like it's worse than it is. They're worse than the, whatever you call it, Bravo, E, whatever you want to call it, the entertainment things. Shit. Whatever it is. Better than the little dramatic entertainment pop culture stuff. It's very similar in the sense of they like to twist a story to make it into what they want it to be to create more intrigue and drama. Just to get the headline. But by doing that, you damage yourself and you damage the person. So for Harden, I want him to think about this a second. You came out here and you made public statements. You went to China and you said, I don't want to be with the Sixers. Daryl Morey is a scumbag. That's essentially what you said. I'm trying not to twist your words. I'm telling you how it came off. Daryl Morey is a scumbag. I'm not playing for him again. When you say these kind of things, you're costing yourself. You're making yourself look like the problem. Just like Kyrie unintentionally made himself look like a problem. That's my point. You may not be a bad person, Harden. You may not be a bad person, Kyrie. But in the end, it's coming off that way. It's being presented that way. And when you are presented as a bad person, or somebody who is selfish, or self-absorbed, or uncaring of others, it comes out looking like you are a bad guy and that you are the toxin in the locker room. And it can't be that way. Because I'm sure all of them get along great with the guys behind closed doors in private. It's great. But in the public eye, it can't look like that. It can't look like it's not. What should have been done is, if I were Harden, every meeting you have at Maury, secretly record it. And I mean this, because it's been done. It's been done, and it pays off in the end. It can lead to legal battles, sure. But in the end, it happened. That's the truth. It happened, and it was said. And that hurts them. So, grab your phone, right here. You put down an audio recorder. Put it down. Keep it on your lap. Right here, while you're talking. Right? You're coming in. Shake Moore's hand. Have it set up. Put it down on your leg. While you're sitting on your leg, keep it straight. Have the conversation. Like normal, like nothing's going on. Record it as you're going, before you go into the room. Because once you do that, you're good. That's all it takes. And then at that point, you get everything in the information. You shut off the recorder. You leave the room. Once you're out of public eye or out of sight, you shut off the recorder. Boom, you have all your information there you need. So if anybody ever questions you about what you're doing, boom, you pull it out and you just be like, look, you're twisting all the media shit, right? How about this? This is what happened behind closed doors. You want to make me look like the bad guy. You go on a podcast. You go on your friend's podcast or something. One of the former players. If this continues on and the media continues to make you look like a bad guy, you pull out the phone, you play the recording. And then at that point, you just say to him, look, this is the Daryl Morey I'm talking about. If Daryl Morey really is not a good guy for the Sixers, this is how you prove it. You pull out the recording, whatever he said. Put it on a microphone, make sure people hear it. And you tell him, is it still my problem? Am I still the problem? And that's it. Did I say anything unfair? Okay. And then after that, you're probably going to get fined. You're probably going to get a lawsuit from the league or from the Sixers. But at that point, now you got your trade because now you just leaked public information. You released a private convo out for the media to know about. And at that point, you can be fired. And you can be traded. That would be my trick to get out. Record a conversation showing that how much they don't care about you. And then airing it out to the media to understand, I'm not the problem. This guy's the problem. That puts heat on the Sixers organization. They have to trade you. And then for the rest of the year, they're going to be calling for that guy to get removed for the next month. So now he's going to be under media heat while you are getting exactly what you want. That would be my trick. Does it look really scummy? Yeah. But I'm sure if it's bad, if the situation's as bad as he's making it look, that would be the way to go with it. I'm so serious. That's something I've seen done. I've sat there in rooms where I've been accused of things, and I'll put it like this. I've had times where I've been in, I'll go into high school with this, where I go into a meeting with a teacher, and because my grades weren't doing great, and I felt like the teacher was failing me. So on my phone, I had it on me. Before I entered I sat outside the door while I was waiting to get allowed in. I turned on my voice recorder, took it on me, held it on me, walked into the room, had my meeting with my teacher. Basically told me that, I'm not a good student. I'm going to fail the class or whatever, like it's like, it just happens. And I got accused a couple of things of like, I'm like, I didn't do that. Oh, cheating. No, I didn't do that. I didn't cheat. No. You were looking at their paper. No, I didn't do that. And then that's literally proof. And then eyewitness sources from inside the class saying that I didn't cheat. And that I was getting focused on for no reason. I was being targeted. So I took it all, saved it, went to the principal, or I went to the academic dean, or whoever it was at the time. I think it was the AP of the department. And I took it and I played the recording. And I said, this is what she's accused me of. I'm not okay with this. I have testimonies from so-and-so and so saying that I was not cheating and that I have been active in the class. I have not been late. If I was late, it was because I was helping out with an extracurricular and returning, which she has already been made aware of prior and had approved prior. And then she's now penalizing me for things that she allowed me to do and things I did not do. And so that resulted in a disciplinary against her, and she ended up grading me more fairly. But she didn't like me after that. But you know what? It doesn't matter. I got what I needed. It affected the person I targeted. Done. I'm not going to be made to look like the bad guy. And that's how I think Harden has to approach it too. And this is how I think every any NBA person should treat it. Okay, if you don't want to be with your team, I get it. Have a private meeting. Do not make it public. Explain to Maury, listen, I want to do a trade. I don't want to make this public. I feel like my time in Philly has come to an end. I'm not happy here. If I'm being honest with you, I have an issue right now with the way the system's working. I feel like I could be doing more here and it's not being utilized properly. I don't think it'll change as long as Joel is here or somebody else is here. Let's change up the scenery a bit. I'd like to go somewhere else, and preferably, if we can you please at least talk to the Clippers? I have some connections there that I would love to have a conversation with and be with. If there's a way we could pull off a trade there, I'd be very happy, and I have nothing but love and respect for your organization, and I wish you guys the best. Done. Keep it cordial, short, sweet. That's how it could be, you know? That could be all it is. That's all I'm saying. With Harden being a no-show at Sixers practice, it doesn't look good for the media, and everything should have just been kept private. And when you keep it private and you do these kind of things, when they take it public and make you look like the bad guy, then you can make them look like the bad guy in public because they started it first. That's why. Always have ammunition ready. Ammunition. If you catch some BS going on where they're plotting against you, that's how you do it. I've used it in high school to help me avoid bad grades and do better in school because teachers trying to fail me. You can do it to help yourself get a better contract into a better place. And at that point, they have to get rid of you. Because again, you leaked a personal conversation, a private conversation. You have to go. At that point, it's over. But they started it first, so you can't be the bad guy because they initiated this bullshit. That's it. If you said, I want to keep this private, I don't want it to go anywhere, and they purposely put out the information to the media, that's bullshit. And when that happens, now you can make a scene. And you know, I'm not talking about like having to say like, oh, scumbag this and that. I'm just like, listen, I requested trade, I said to keep this private. I have another recording to prove it here. And then boom, right there, full thing. And this is what he said to me in this conversation. And if he's a bad guy, you're going to have the bad things come out in that conversation after showing that you are a good person and that you were trying to be responsible and safe in this and do what was best for the team. And in the end, they acted like prima donnas. That's all you had to do. If it really is that bad. But again, I went off on a long tangent on this. It's the truth with Harden being a no-show at Sixers practice. It doesn't look good in the public eye. He's going to start trying to force himself out. There's a better way to go about this and a more strategic way to make you look good and make them look bad. If you want to make them look bad in the media, you got to have these kind of things done. That's the trick. It's always a recording. It's always a recording on your phone. That's what does it. And that's going to do it for the Brian Mansell Show today. Thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in. If you are watching this for the first time and you're new to the channel, please consider following us on Twitch here. No subs. We don't do subs. We feel like you guys should have to pay to access this kind of content. You know, we're good. We love having this kind of conversation with our fans. Fans shouldn't have to pay for whatever services they need access to, you know, to get more access to us. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make sense. It's stupid. But, again, follow us on Twitch. It goes a long way in helping us grow and get more exposure on the sports tab in the Twitch community. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please consider giving us a subscription, because that's where we can help grow our channel as well. We're going to try to do more sketch comedy involving sports, some more skits, whatever it takes to kind of really grow the channel more. And anytime you guys want to watch the reruns of these VODs, if you're late to the channel, tuning in for the first time, see other stuff we've done, we've got a VODs page on Twitch that only airs them for like a week and then they're gone. But all of them from now on are saved on YouTube under the live window. Under the live window, you can watch all the lives. Those are going to be there forever. So you can watch all of them there. Once again, guys, thank you again so much for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow. But until then, enjoy the ALCS Game 3 tonight, 8:03 Eastern on FS1. And we will also have NHL tonight action. You have Pittsburgh, Detroit. Will be available everywhere to watch on TNT and Max, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you want to watch the Washington-Ottawa game, ESPN Plus or NHL Power Play. And if you live in the Washington area, DC area, you can watch it on the Monument Network. So again, thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you all here tomorrow morning. Special guest tomorrow, by the way. Special guest. Somebody from the Giants community on YouTube. Going to be here tomorrow. No doubt, for sure. He was supposed to make it last week. He couldn't. It caused an issue making the show. But we're going to have him tomorrow. Locked down. Confident. No problems. I promise you. He's coming tomorrow. So, we're going to have a Giants content creator here to talk about some sports with us, some baseball, some football. We're going to mix it up a bit and then prepare for that as well. In addition, tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football stream is back. We're doing another play-by-play. Woohoo! Play-by-play. Tomorrow night, we're going to do Thursday Night Football. That one will be entertaining, I promise you. We always have fun when we do these play-by-plays. That game will be the Jacksonville Jaguars and the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans, 8:15 Eastern on Amazon Prime tomorrow night. I will be broadcasting the game here. It's a play-by-play, which means you can't see it, but you can hear me and watch me talk about it and react live. That's how we're going to roll with this. So again, thank you guys so much for giving all the support and watching us today. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, with another episode of the Brian Mansell Show with our special guest from the Giants community. So, thank you again, and have a great day.